lukewarm topic that shouldn't get anybody heated. But like, if I said the statement, goths like wearing black, I guarantee someone on the internet would see that and be like, actually, they're pastel goths, there's medieval goths, and I have goth friends that like the culture, but they don't only wear black. Like, okay, multiple things can exist at the same time. Can we be on the same page in that? My statement isn't any less true just because you can think of examples that step outside of that statement. What I can say is correct. Like, black is a staple for goths. That's fine. But you can add to the conversation by saying, well, while I agree with you, there are multiple subgenres within goth. There might be like, a whole bunch of different separate movements, but that doesn't take away from the fact that trad goth has a very specific look to it. All right, case closed on that. I don't think I need to argue that too much. But the point I'm trying to get across is like, now that's a pretty lukewarm subject. I could say that and still get people arguing. Now imagine on the internet, I don't even have to imagine because look at the world we're in, but when you start talking about politics, religion, race, sexual orientation, everything, under the sun, you can understand how triggering those things are going to be for people. And everyone walks around with their own, opinions, and a lot of people are angry about the world, rightfully so, right? A lot of things going on, a lot of issues. And so there are people that are trying to get views and try to trigger you on purpose, but then also the people watching the videos are looking for someone to attack. So when you have both dynamics happening at the same time, it becomes this sort of game of big, large trigger content and then people feeding into that cycle to the point that I feel like nuances start to get lost. I feel like a lot of people are just latching onto larger concepts and ignoring the fact that we can have a dialogue of in between. Not everything has to be so polarized. And, obviously on the content creator side of things, I mean, if you're going out of your way to trigger people and saying these large extreme statements, then you got to understand that, you got to be willing to look at the nuances yourself, right? And not try to, because the world that we live in, people like to fit it into small boxes and say like, you're either your left or you're right, or you're this or you're that. And it's like, not really, because that might work conceptually, but when you actually get to reality and how things work out, things are never simple. Things are never fitting in a pretty little box with a bow on it. Life is messy. So when you try to get, put people in boxes and they don't conform to those boxes, that's where, all hell breaks loose.